Hello children, and welcome back. Have you heard about the smash hit of the summer, Blue Beetle? This video started as a review of Blue Beetle, but because of the current state of this studio, it's morphed into something a bit more comprehensive. If you're not aware of what's going on with DC, I think you'll get a lot out of this, and even if you are, I think we can all learn from the hubris that brought us here. To get everyone on the same page, let's do a quick history lesson. Superhero movies, affectionately known online as cape shit, were for decades almost exclusively a product of DC Comics and Warner Brothers Studios. Marvel finally wised up and started making movies for its characters in the early 2000s, right around the same time they hired a guy named Kevin Feige. Feige was involved in most of Marvel's production at that time, and he had this idea, like, guys, you know how comics are connected? You know how, like, when shit goes down in one comic, shit stays had going down in the next one? We should do that shit in the movies. From that point, Feige and the other executives in Marvel started working on a series of interconnected films, sharing plot threads and actors. Then we cut to 2008. It's 2008 awards season, and those who haven't hanged themselves from the financial disaster of the previous year are eager to see how many Oscar nominations The Dark Knight receives. The Dark Knight was The Dark Knight. It was a universally acclaimed absolute event, and it was the highest grossing movie of that year by a wide margin. The selections are announced and the movie receives a Best Supporting Actor nomination for Heath Ledger, but it misses a Best Picture nom. This was big Hollywood news at the time. People wanted the Academy to stop nominating pretentious white bummers and maybe, I don't know, throw some cool shit in there every once in a while. Nominate Elektra, dude. Jagar is so hot. And the response from the Academy was like, what if we stop only nominating the PWBs? The number of nominees for Best Picture was doubled to 10 next year. The point is, this is a DC comic book film, and it changed the Oscars, which now that I say it out loud doesn't seem like that big of a deal. But this was in 2008 when the Oscars meant something. Heath Ledger did, of course, thankfully bring it home for the Joker. He's so good. He's incredible in Brokeback too. God, I miss him. So DC was out here winning Oscars in 2008, but Marvel had a pretty good year too. Their plan for a series of interconnected films started back in May with Iron Man, an immediate hit that included an after-credits stinger teasing an eventual team-up movie. Iron Man's success paved the way for other lamer superheroes to achieve success in their own films. Iron Man gets a sequel, and then Marvel gets acquired by the mouse.
We plan to use all of Disney's global distribution and marketing resources to extend and increase the popularity of the Marvel brand and its treasure trove of over 5,000 characters.
Disney's first production was The Avengers in 2012, a massively successful cultural behemoth that cemented the MCU as the new Big Daddy Top Dog. And nobody likes not being Big Daddy Top Dog anymore. I get it. DC was tired of missing out on the action, and after having had success with the Dark Knight trilogy, they assumed they would stand out from Marvel with a more adult-oriented, more dark, more badass tone. Because Marvel movies are for fucking babies, bro. Give me something nightmarish and miserable. A new generation Superman movie was released on March 14th, 2013, and while some were converted on that day to protect this man with their life, most thought the film was a tough sit. It's dreary as hell. Why is Superman an emotionless alien? He grew up as a farm boy.
Farm boy?
As you wish.
He grew up on a farm. He should just be a dude. Why does it seem like he couldn't give a shit about anyone around him? Why is there such utter disregard for human life in this film?
What was I supposed to do? Just let him die?
By the way, I looked it up, and according to Zack Snyder, the number of people killed in this movie is just around 4,000. I think there were 4,000 people killed in the first minute of the attack. Omega 9/11 is not really delved into until the next film, Batman v Superman, apparently. But I ain't gonna watch that shit. The level of destruction and casualties in this film is a choice. Superman being an emotionless is a choice. These are choices that Zack Snyder made that had an enormous influence on the tone of the rest of the franchise. The movies that followed were similarly dark and similarly not well received. The studio was a disorganized mess with changing plans and changing executives and an unquenchable thirst for what Marvel was cooking. Oh. You hungry there? Ant-Man 2 might beat the Justice League this week. It seemed like every time a movie in this franchise came out, people just expected it to be dog shit. There were and still are some hardcore ride or die fanboys out there, but the batting average in terms of quality is abysmal. To get an accurate assessment of what the WB executives were looking at and why they ultimately agreed to make the final decision, I've assigned 1 point to every actually good film in the DCEU. For the record, this does not count stuff outside the cinematic universe like the Batman or Joker. I've run the numbers, and here are my conclusions. With a combined total of 1/2 a point for Aquaman, Shazam, and Wonder Woman, the DCEU has 3.5 genuinely, actually good movies in it in total. Those are factual numbers, 3.5. One of these rarities was directed by James Gunn.
That's pretty good for a shriveled up cripple who can't get it up.
That is it, hell bitch. I don't need to take this shit from you. My erectile dysfunction has been resolved, see?
James Gunn is a weirdo from St. Louis, Missouri, who got his start with Lloyd Kaufman's Troma Entertainment. He made bizarre, gross-out horror comedies for years until dipping his toe into cape shit by writing a movie called The Specials in 2000, which was a quirky comedy about the day-to-day life of a group of shittier, lesser-known superheroes. He then went on to write and direct Super in 2010, starring Rainn Wilson and Elliot Page. Super is about a normal guy who experiences a tragedy and starts wearing a costume and fighting crime.
Shut up, crime.
These two projects clearly got the attention of Kevin Feige, who was looking for a director for this movie about the day-to-day life of shittier, lesser-known superheroes, several of which experience a tragedy and start fighting crime. Gunn was presented with the idea, along with several other future Marvel directors, and the outline that he came back with was A, a lot darker than anyone else's, but B, just a lot more involved. And apparently, he was really into the raccoon. He insisted Rocket would be one of the main characters. Feige and the other producers liked it, and just like that, he's hired to write the first Guardians of the Galaxy, a huge hit that succeeded both commercially and critically, despite largely being absent from the overarching plot threads of the rest of the MCU. A sequel was quickly greenlit, and it again was a big success. It was clear to most who watched the Guardians movies that they're some of the best the MCU has to offer. They're personal, they're sweet, they're funny sometimes. The found family trope remains one of the best. 2 hits in a row. Looks like old J-Mo might be the one to carry the MCU into the future. Oh my god! He tweeted a bunch of edgelord jokes in the late 2000s. He's fired from Marvel. Canceled. Disgraced. No one's touching this guy. No one's that desperate. DC immediately saw that the shit he tweeted was edgelord nonsense meant to be funny, and it in no way was indicative of who the guy was. So they scoop him up. They give him The Suicide Squad, a bafflingly titled movie that was pretty much universally liked by critics and fans. Creative shots, compelling characters. What do you know? This guy found another group of misfits and made us give a shit about them. Boy's got a knack for that. He also got a show on HBO. Oh, shit. I dead named them. He's got a show on Max called Peacemaker, based on the character that John Cena plays. So he's rubbing elbows, establishing relationships. Things are going well. Meanwhile, back in Marvel, the cast of Guardians unanimously boycotts the third film unless Gunn is brought back to finish his vision. Disney eventually caves and brings him back for one more film, but the bridge had been burned. He's already in bed with the hideous stepsister. It really is like a fat girl with low self-esteem love-bombing a new boyfriend. Oh, James, honey, of course you can call your movie that. It's not confusing at all. Oh, honey, it's fine. The movie was our second worst opening of all time. I think we should give one of the side characters a television show. It reads as desperation, but it's possible we're underestimating them and that DC just saw genuine promise in the guy. He was carrying the torch for Marvel beautifully. Maybe if they win him over, he can carry them into the next, hopefully less shitty chapter. Friends, you all know why I gathered you here today.
Yes.
Black Adam is either going to change the hierarchy of power in the DC universe forever, or bomb. It's probably going to bomb. Through a stroke of pure dumb luck, we've finally been able to secure a competent director to our cause. Therefore, friends, I fear it's time for the ultimate decision. Or what do we call it? The final solution. From the ashes of our cinematic universe, another stronger one shall arise like a phoenix. Upon this ceremony's conclusion, Peter Safran and James Gunn will ascend to their final form and become Kevin Feige. James Peter 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 Feige. So that's what they did. They saw the writing on the walls and they decided on the nuclear option. The decision was made to essentially start the universe over with Gunn as head of DC and begin the new DCEU with Superman Legacy in 2025.
Hey everybody, I'm James Gunn. I'm the co-CEO of DC Studios. Next up is the big one, the true beginning of the DCU. This is called Superman Legacy. This is being written by me. I'm in the middle of it. I'm having a great time doing it. And Superman will be released into theaters July 11th, 2025.
If that movie's a big hit and he brings these characters back into the public consciousness, that big fat-ass stepsister might have just made an incredible play. Only time will tell what the new universe brings. Movies take years to make. All of it is in pre-production currently. But wait a minute. Movies take years to make. What about all the stuff DC had slated to come out before this huge decision was made? Well, we still have movies coming out in the already dead DCEU. What are those movies, you ask? Since the Gundam was announced, and at the time of this recording, there's been 3, with one more soon to be delayed past December. Shazam 2, which I didn't see and you didn't either. The Flash, which I did see but you didn't. And of course, Blue Beetle, which I saw with yo mama. These are movies that exist in an actively dying universe. It's like showing up to work even though you know T2 Judgment Day is tomorrow afternoon. I think the position that these films are in is both pitiful and hilarious, which is part of the reason why I wanted to make this video, but I want to discuss one of these bastard stepchildren a little further. I want to talk to you briefly about The Flash.
I spent a lifetime trying to right the wrongs of the past. As if fighting crime would bring my parents back. You actually did it.
I should have been wearing headphones this whole dang time. The Flash is a movie that came out earlier in 2023 and will probably be the biggest flop of the year. In April, it appeared at CinemaCon to earth-shattering, insane praise. People were calling it like the best DC movie since The Dark Knight. Tom Cruise said he loved it. James Gunn said it's one of the best superhero movies ever made.
He shot The Flash, which people are going to see is just one of the greatest movies ever made.
And it comes out and, oh, the reviews are bad. Basically just a huge mix of reactions. People either really loved it, like Tom Cruise, really hated it, like most of my friends, or like walked out after 25 minutes. People are all over the place on this movie, but pretty much everyone who sees it agrees that it has some of the worst looking special effects in pretty much any major motion picture they or I have seen in years, decades. Look, everybody, it's cartoon time. Yay! So what was supposed to be a big summer hit came out and tanked in its opening weekend and then had 0 legs in the box office afterwards. Its legs were like... it tanked. I had no intention of seeing this whatsoever, but when Tommy Boy gets paid to advertise a product, I listen. So what did I think? Remember earlier when I told you there's only 3.5 good movies in the DCEU? I was fucking lying. There's 4. The Flash is a roller coaster of some of the lowest lows and highest highs I've seen in pretty much any movie ever. There are parts of this film that I detest. The opening action scene involving babies is one of the worst things I've ever seen. It's like horrific, but as soon as Flash starts time traveling, it gets to be really fun. Our beloved Barry is an autistic virgin with no friends whose professional and dating life is constantly interrupted by his work with the Justice League, who constantly treat him callously and don't hang out. He's feeling especially lonely one evening when his dad calls him from prison. Prison? It's then revealed that when Barry was 6, his mother was stabbed in the heart with a knife, and instead of calling 911, he ran away like a pussy.
Barry! Barry! Call 911 now!
Oof, that's trauma, baby. Grief, guilt, shame. On top of all of it, your dad gets blamed for the murder. If only you could go back and change it. Obviously, the movie is about him going back to try to change it. This crazy event that robbed him of both his parents at age 6 and led to this lonely, anxious, black-pilled life. Things never go well when you mess with time, as Ben Affleck's Bruce Wayne tells Barry in a heartbreaking scene towards the beginning of the film.
I could save her. I could save both of them. I could save your parents.
Harry, these scars we have make us who we are. We're not meant to go back and fix them. And there's nothing broken with you that needs to be fixed. Take it from an old guy who's made a lot of mistakes. Do want to live your past. Live your life. Don't let your tragedy define you.
What if it's supposed to define me?
I'm going to get into some Flash spoilers. I presume that most of you don't care, but just in case there's a spoiler thing right there, click that if you want to skip this part. Okay, it's a little convoluted, but Barry's mom forgot a can of tomatoes at the store, and so she sent her husband, Barry's dad, to the store to get the tomatoes, right? And then when he was gone, she was murdered. His thinking is if the tomatoes just are in her cart, the dad doesn't get sent away, and then the murderer presumably never comes into the house.
Don't forget the tomato. See you soon.
He then tries running back to the present, and he's passing memories that he hasn't experienced himself. He's seeing birthdays with his mom that he didn't experience, but he's changing, time. So he's running back to the present in the cartoon speed room, and he's attacked by this ancient time guardian thing, and he's ejected somewhere into the past. Uh-oh. He first goes home to find his mom and dad alive and not in prison. But it's not long until a college-age version of himself appears. Barry tackles them, and from that point forward, it's a team-up movie with 2 different versions of the Flash. This is a super cool plot device, in my opinion. They are the same person, but from 2 vastly different circumstances. One of them is like a 3/4 orphan fucking loser, and the other one is an obnoxious asshole that has parents and presumably gets pussy.
Mom! What are you doing? You're gonna tattle now? Do the thing. Fine.
They play off each other really well, and our Flash gets to see through the other version of himself how goddamn annoying he is to everyone around him. It's a beautiful healing journey. Old Flash loses his powers, and young Flash gains them, and this killed me in the theater. They're walking past a TV that's playing news footage, and a crowd has gathered, so they go see what all the commotion is about. And then Barry looks at the TV and registers what's happening, looks right in the camera, and goes, "Oh my God, it's Omega 9/11?" So yes, Zod is coming to Earth today. It's the end of Man of Steel again. Barry, who does not have his powers at the moment, wants to find the Justice League. And what's that you said? The Justice League's not a thing in this? Oh. Superheroes aren't a thing? Oh, maybe I shouldn't have gone and messed with time. Batman is a thing, though, and if you've seen one shred of promotional material for this movie, you know it's Michael Keaton. They go see him, and the whole time young Barry's being super annoying and making this sound. They get to the Batcave, and old Barry just blows up on him. It's like fear, jealousy, and shame kind of just pouring out in this stumbly, childish, kind of inner dialogue-y rant, and I think it works really well.
Yeesh. Sorry, Mom. Shut up. Shut up. You have no idea how lucky you are. No idea. You take everything for granted. You don't even appreciate. You just walk around thinking that you're so funny and so cool. And it's embarrassing because you're not any of those things.
The Fleesh make up, and Batman takes them to Superman, who is now Supergirl. Old Barry gets his powers back. Young Barry at this point is proficient. It's final battle time. This fight, like many in the movie, is sick. The choreography is great. The music is fun. It's genuinely exciting. Things are going well for the gang, and oh my God, they killed Supergirl. Oh my God, Batman's dead too. Well, you can't really have that because the world's about to end. So the good news is you're the Flash, so you can go back and try it again. And oh fuck, it happened again. And again.
But what the hell, boy?
Holy shit, what if this is inevitable? What if there's some things in life that can't be changed even with time travel?
We can try 1,000,000 times, and we're not going to be able to fix this no matter what we do. This world dies today.
Our Barry has accepted that this is inevitable. He has let go. You could also make the argument that the loss of his mom at age 6 prepared him for this. Mom then, entire world now. It was a dry run for grandma.
Because a dog dying is an opportunity to deal with death. With your kids, it's like a dry run for grandma. It is. It is. Dog dies, you talk about it, you deal with it. Later on, you go, so you know all that stuff we talked about the dog? Yeah, so grandma now. All the same stuff. That's right.
He tries over and over to make young Barry understand that this can't be changed, but homeboy just cannot accept it. He keeps going back over and over, and each time he gets stabbed by the alien guys, and he's definitely the time demon from earlier. So yes, young Barry is doomed to try this over and over for essentially eternity until nothing is left but void. He can't let go. Wow, what a poignant and interesting development movie. What do you have for us now?
Jesus H. Christ. What is that? What the fuck is that?
The worst part of the film. The cartoon fan service fantasy roleplay. When they fight in the cartoon speed room, it makes alternate universes appear, and I hate this. It sucks. The theater that I saw it in actually had a security guard that was forcing fanboys to sit down because they were all just turning around and pointing at the screen. We have a roller coaster in Texas that goes really high in the sky and then goes underground for a second. This scene is like a vertical drop into the lower mantle.
Anyway, so I had to tell you my geology jokes because I've been storing them up for a while.
Young Flash luckily gets murdered by Void Flash and ends his futile quest to change the past, but his world just stays dead. Supergirl's dead, Batman's dead, and then like all the people and the dogs and the cows and everything. Ugh. That's a darker turn than most movies have the balls to take. So then our dear Barry, alone again, finally understands that the past isn't something you can just change, and he has to embrace where he is in this world. A friendless virgin with some vague redeeming qualities, with one parent in jail for the rest of his life and one parent dead. It's radical acceptance, basically. Radical acceptance. So he goes back to take the tomatoes out of the cart, but not before talking to his mama one last time. He's wearing a disguise at first, but she takes it off of him, and she gets this look in her face like she kind of knows him somehow, even though at this point her son is 6. And she's so kind and giving to this presumed stranger who just came up and started sobbing in front of her.
I know I'm just a random lady in a store. But you want to hack?
Sure.
I'm sorry. Oh, don't say that.
I think she senses on some level that this is her son, some motherly instinct. I love this scene. I think it works, and I think it's the best scene in the movie.
Love you, Mom.
So Barry has closure with his mom, but he's gonna have to work on accepting that his dad is in prison for life for a crime that he didn't commit. Like oh, excuse me. I'm getting a phone call. Just a moment. Yes, sir? You want to make the dad get out of prison at the end? By messing with time? It's too sad as is. It's supposed to be kind of like a sad movie about acceptance and... I see. Yes, sir. Okay. Love you too. The studio has some notes. So the roller coaster takes one more splash through Diarrhea Mountain. It tries to have its cake and eat it too by allowing Barry to at least get his dad exonerated. This sucks. I cannot believe that it was in the original script. It completely fumbles the entire theme of the film. It reeks of a studio note to me. So anyway, that's The Flash. I genuinely like it, and I think that with a few key things changed, you have a great movie on your hands, but it's at least interesting. It's fun to think about time travel. The action is impressive. It's generally good, and I think that Tom Cruise is, as always, based and correct. I watched the Flash movie on a whim, and it made me well up. Tears. A Flash movie. God bless Tom Cruise. I love my mom. Let's wrap this puppy up on a high note.
The Beetle awaits.
What?
Talk about the Beetle.
Oh, fuck, I forgot.
George Lopez demands it.
Fucking George Lopez.
Your feelings are well documented. You watched Nick at Night just like every other unfortunate soul about to turn 30. Oh, talk about Blue Beetle. He demands it.
How did you get it to do that?
I think he likes me.
Carmen.
After enjoying a whole sum of The Flash, I decided to watch this movie so the cast could feel good about having sold at least one ticket. And now that I'm a card-carrying AMC Stubs Rewards member, this trip only cost me my time. IMC. We make movies better! Every movie has like an hour and a half of trailers before it now, and I never really minded actually because I always bring a sleeping bag. This might be the first time I ever had a bad trailer experience. I'm of the opinion that ads for horror movies don't really have any business being in front of terrible, family-friendly superhero movies like this one. Like, dude, they brought Grandma. What are we doing? But Warner Brothers saw that they had a second Nun movie on the slate, and they decided that they better put the ad in front of their smash summer hit Blue Beetle. So the Nun ad ends, surprisingly without a jump scare at the end, which I thought showed a lot of restraint. Just kidding. Of course, there's a jump scare. And then, immediately, the next ad. I shit you not.
When our world is threatened, one team is ready to launch.
Did he say lunch?
No, I said launch.
Fucking Paw Patrol. I mean, like, there's literally no possible reason that's a good idea. Again, unlike The Flash, the movie starts and you know exactly what you're in for the rest of the runtime. Flat, boring shots like a hangover movie. Corny-ass predictable script.
Do you remember your 21st birthday?
Oh, I remember the first half. Oh, I can't believe we're losing this place.
It was rough.
Yeah, well, I'm not leaving again.
What about grad school?
Well, that's not gonna help the family.
Uncharismatic lead who clearly bit off more than they could chew. And George Lopez.
Did you say Lopez? I could have sworn he said Lopez.
We're introduced to the sister character at the beginning, played by this girl, who I've seen before. And it can be difficult as an audience member shoving popcorn into my gullet to remember who these fucking characters are, so I really do appreciate that she constantly calls him bro.
I need more, bro. Welcome back, bro. Bring your A game, bro. Thanks, bro. Gotta take a shit, bro.
Bro, what is that beetle even? Bro, is that even like a beetle? Oh, that's her brother. It's like a porn. Or Avatar 2.
Stripes don't make you any bigger, bro.
Bro, we have got to check this out.
Bro, we have got to get down there. Bro, that's disgusting. That's insane, cuz!
Because the goal of these movies is to expand a universe that no longer exists, I decided to inscribe some of the direct quotes that I wrote down from this film for historical purposes. At the beginning, before he gets beetled, he and his sister are working as valets, and Sharon Stone walks by, who's the CEO of the company they work for, or something. They're like trying to get her attention, like, hey, Miss Stone, Miss Stone. And she ignores them. They get blown off by the billionaire CEO, and the sister is like,
We're invisible to people like that, Jaime. It's like our superpower.
And then she looked right in the camera. Towards the beginning of the film, when we're establishing how much the family loves each other, Jamie's feeling particularly hard on himself, and he outright says,
Sorry, but it's just everything right now feels so out of reach, and I feel like I failed you guys.
Which literally no teenager has ever said to their parent outside of a script. His wise-ass Uncle Ben-ass father bestows some wisdom upon him in this moment, and is like, son, you just need to find your purpose. And he's like, what's your purpose, Dad? To die at the end of the second act. There's another down on his luck scene when he's showing up to the science festival that he was invited to, and I know what you're thinking. Nerd alert! They always make him smart, these super kids. It's a fancy scientist party, so he's wearing a suit, and he walks up to the front desk to ask for directions, and the lady takes one look at him.
Nice to meet you.
Deliveries are downstairs.
That might be the most racist employee of all time. He's wearing a suit. If any human comes before me with skin tone darker than 24%, I just send them below with the other help. This is the big opening scene when our hero gets his superpowers, and therefore he also has an encounter with the bad guys and the mini-boss of this movie, Big Beetle. Big Beetle is Wolverine. It's just the same backstory. He's about to smush someone to power scale him in the first act, and the guy is like, please just don't hurt my family. And this big motherfucker comes back with,
The love you feel for your family makes you weak.
I haven't heard that line in decades. The good news is that I don't have to explain the plot of Blue Beetle because you have seen Blue Beetle. You've seen Transformers. Young kid is poor and down on his luck. He has a viciously annoying family who do insane out-of-pocket shit constantly, but at the end of the day, he loves them. They're his family at the end of the day. Through circumstances completely out of his control, he has a mystical meet-cute with a 10 out of 10 smoke show who is so far out of his league, it's comical. During this encounter, he is bestowed some supernatural badass technology, which leads to further encounters with the bad guys and the smoke show, solidifying their relationship. There's a big ol' smooch at the end with plenty of threads left for a sequel. The only difference is that the director of Blue Beetle isn't Michael Bay, so there's no shots of the female lead like this. I think we'll skip that note. Let's talk about the lead of this film, Shia minus Riz. This guy, oof. He's a charisma vacuum that has zero chemistry with the supermodel that he's allegedly dating. He's got to be a no-name they hired for scale, right? I've heard good things. He is really not great in this movie, I'm sorry to say. There is one good joke in the movie, though. George Lopez learns that...
I knew I heard it that time. Do you know how demeaning it is that you literally keep me in the closet?
G-Pez asks the Beauty and the Beetle to come into the ship that he's researching. He says that he has some very serious news and that they should both sit down.
The Scarab chose this Garrett guy before it chose you, Hyman.
It's alien.
Yeah, I don't really like the term alien. I mean, you can use it, but
Whatever, Rudy. Come on, what happened to Ted's professor guy? How did he get it out?
You might want to sit down. Or not. All right.
That made me laugh out loud, and for that, the movie gets props. So anyway, he tells them the Beetle can't...
Oh, the Beetle.
Tells them the Beetle can't be removed without killing the host.
So be pleased.
And our main man just has a full-blown meltdown that our boy did not have the chops to pull off.
I had no way. You had no idea. Okay, so then what are my options now? So option 1 is to become an android for the rest of my life. Or option 2 is to hand myself over to a murderous billionaire psychopath? All I wanted was a job.
But wait, maybe that there's a...
Maybe what, Rudy? It's all bad news. Okay, this shit just doesn't get any better for us. I don't understand why you can't...
He's also making references to Batman and Superman, and you have just this warm, lovely feeling of real-life dramatic irony.
I met a superhero like Superman in Metropolis or the Flash in Central City.
You can't fly. Superman can fly. Like, look at this. It's like Batman stuff, but... like if he had ADHD or something?
Batman's a fascist!
Henry Cavill and Ben Affleck ain't coming back. Those characters are dead. It's impossible for these people to help you with your Beetle situation, not because they're famous superheroes, but because they no longer exist. I'm picturing him walking up to the Fortress of Solitude and it's just leveled. They're building a condo. We then cut back to our bad guys who are performing heinous acts, and I noticed a trope that I'd never been able to put my finger on before. It's a scientist that comes in with the villain, and they're doing their bidding until the villain does something dramatically evil or mean. It always cuts back to the scientist person who walks in, and it's the same face every time. I've got a feeling he's going to be a good guy at the end. More things happen. Again, you've seen Transformers, just picture a more boring version of that. The dad dies finally, right on schedule, and we're treated to Heaven Vision, where he can get some closure with his dad and get the strength to go on. I'm like, fuck off, dude. Sucked in Harry Potter, too.
I think if you so desired, you'll be able to board a train.
And where would it take me?
On.
The dad stuff in this movie is just nothing. Remember when the Flash started weeping in front of his soon-to-be-dead mother? That's something, baby. Father Beetle just spouts platitudes about finding your purpose and living in the moment. It's like a first draft outline script that you come back in detail later, you know? The emotional core of the film is utterly hollow. It's simply... Another thing that sucks and is straight out of a Tim Allen movie from the early 2000s is the Everything's Great Now ending. Not only do he and his family receive a superhuman god suit, they also get a ton of that cash. And also the $1 trillion evil company that manufactured war scarabs and killed people to keep them secret, they make cookies now. They're a cookie factory, hooray! They hired the Kibler elf. Ugh, and the kiss at the end is just the worst. Dude, you're not Shia. You do not have it like that.
Nope.
I want to mention, by the way, that the film does do a lot for Latino representation, which is rad. Everyone should have superheroes that look like them. I hope I'm not yucking your yum too much if you connected with the film on that level. That I totally understand. I don't understand connecting much on a plot level, but to each their own. You'll be fighting an uphill battle remaining a fan of either of these films, as again, they are about to be swept under the rug to make way for the New World Order. I don't anticipate many Blue Beetle stans having an issue with the character's lack of inclusion in future projects, but maybe this will become a cult classic. A forgotten tale starring a wet paper towel. Maybe it develops a following for being the single most passive movie experience a human being can have. By the way, I always go see the movie twice if I'm making a video about it, but for this one, no. George Lopez is bad.
Oh, he didn't mean it, Georgie. He didn't mean it.
Years of mismanagement and struggle have led to this output in 2023. Even my beloved Flash is marred with issues. It's kind of tough to recommend for that reason, but if you skip the Flash spoilers, I recommend that you do. But you should seek these movies out so you too can bear witness to history. You can watch films that exist to broaden a fading horizon. They're blowing air into a balloon that's already popped. James Gunn and Peter Safran are in charge now, and I pray they never let another Blue Beetle slip through their fingertips. And you never know. They may be the ones to get DC on a workout program. Get her eating right. They may single-handedly give this ugly bitch a makeover. I would now like to take a moment to honor the casualties of this dramatic rebirth.
I mean, to me, it was that concept, the ultimate wish fulfillment, really, of a kid who gets to become an adult.
I wanted to make it official that I am back as Superman.
Just yesterday, I got sent the original article announcing me playing Black Adam 15 years ago. I fought so hard for this movie to be made.
So that about wraps it up. The failings of Warner Brothers and DC Studios from 2013 to 2023 will be studied in years to come. It really is almost as bad as how Disney handled Star Wars. At least DC had the balls to hit the reset button and hire a psychopath. Hey, wait a minute. We never heard the whale's take on this. Where is that fat bastard?
Oh, fuck, I forgot about the whale thing.
Hey, bud.
I've been in here all day.
What's going on, man?
I've been in here all day. You forgot about me. Ow. Oh. Anyway, Blue Beetle was a fun family drama with plenty of redeemable qualities. George Lopez's performance was electric. He brought a whole new dimension to the superhero genre.
Fat son of a bitch.
Charisma.